How many of you have your phone with you here today? If you do, take it out. Turn the on button or the home button, the power, whatever it takes to light up the screen so that you can see what's new in your social world, what temperature it is outside, maybe even just what time it is. This is probably a pretty familiar, routine series of actions for you. How many times do you think you do this exact motion every day? Raise your hand if you think you check your phone like this 10 times a day. About 20 times. 40 times? Take whatever number you're currently thinking of and double it, and you might be closer to reality. Research from 2015 indicates that the average person checks their phone 85 times a day. Assuming that you're awake for 16 hours, that's checking your phone on average every 11 minutes and 17 seconds for the entire time you're awake. But what I originally asked you was how often you think you check your phone. Despite actually checking their phone 85 times a day, the participants only thought they checked it 37 times. In fact, there was no correlation between their actual checking behavior and their perception. Now, you might be thinking that sure, you check your phone a lot, but every time it's so short that doesn't add up to much. Unfortunately, it does. The average user spends 135 minutes on social media every day. That's 2.25 hours of scrolling through feeds and messaging friends. People run marathons in less time than that. So, why do we spend so much time on social media, and how can this make us unhappy in the long run? We spend a lot of time on these websites and applications because doing so is rewarding. Building and viewing our profiles helps in establishing a sense of self-worth and fulfilling our ego needs. In fact, after you've experienced some kind of a blow to your ego, you're more likely than usual to go and look at your own profile. Receiving likes and comments is also perceived as gains to your reputation, and it makes you feel like part of a group. Lastly, we have this innate desire to tell people things about ourselves. 30 to 40% of the things we say out loud are just us telling other people about our subjective experience, and that increases to 80% of the things that we post on social media. We love to tell people what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and what we plan to do with our lives. In one study, participants gave up an average of 1 American cent per trial in order to introspect and answer questions about themselves instead of responding to questions about other people. Because of this choice to indulge in self-related questions, participants gave up an average of 25% of their potential earnings over the course of the experiment. Evidently, sharing our experiences has intrinsic value. And on social media, we get to spew these self-disclosures at a rapid rate to a large audience, and that is so rewarding. So if it's so rewarding, how come some of these Google searches are alluding to more negative long-term consequences? Social media is associated with decreased participation in real-life social communities, worse academic performance, and more relationship problems. There's also ample evidence linking social media use and depression in young adults. This can partially be explained by how social media changes the way that we view other people. People who have spent more time on Facebook, either they've been on the website for a greater number of years or they spend more time on it each week, are more likely to agree with the following 3 statements. 1, other people are happier than me. 2, other people have better lives than me. And 3, life is not fair. While there are a number of ways that we can understand how social media influences our insecurity and depression, the perspective we'll focus on today is the availability heuristic. The availability heuristic is a mental shortcut that we make when evaluating topics or making decisions. We base our judgments on the examples that come easily to mind, and this can result in overestimating the likelihood of those specific examples. For example, what's more dangerous, driving or flying? Which one are you personally more scared of? If you think about driving, an example that'll pop into mind is probably the last time you were driving and there was no problem. However, if you haven't been on many planes before, the first examples that might pop into mind are terrifying crashes that are reported in the media. This can lead you to form an incorrect judgment that flying is more dangerous. In reality, more Canadians died in highway accidents than airplane crashes in 2010. But we've drifted a little bit away from social media, so how does this apply to that situation? If you're scrolling through social media and you come across my profile, here are 5 pictures taken off of my Instagram. Remember that I, like the rest of the world, selectively choose what part of my life to portray online. The self that we represent is an incomplete and often inaccurate caricature. However, if you don't know me particularly well, these are the examples that will come to mind when you're trying to judge how happy I am. you'll likely come to the conclusion that I'm a happy person who is always doing exciting things because you can think of examples of my exciting life. The availability heuristic leads us to have a skewed perception of our Facebook friends because their curated moments are more available to us than the mundane moments of their daily lives. I, on the other hand, know that my life is not perpetually happy and can come up with a lot of examples to illustrate this. These are times when I cried on canoe trips because it was an absolutely miserable day. Sometimes studying for exams sucks. This one time, I broke out in hives because I had an allergic reaction to my house getting fumigated. That sucked. Sometimes dinner is not Instagrammable. And sometimes you're just standing in the pouring rain and it's the last place you want to be. Because I can easily think of all of these examples, and when I'm judging other people, all I see is their perfect moments online, it's easy to conclude that they're living a happier life. Now, this is especially important when we're judging people online who are mere acquaintances in real life. In this little game, participants were given 4 pictures of one of their Facebook friends. They got to look at these 4 pictures taken from that person's profile, and they had to guess this person's name. Just their first name, nothing about them. People could only do this for 73% of their Facebook friends. So when a quarter of the people that we know online, we don't know beyond their posts, it isn't surprising that those who spend a lot of time on social media are more likely to judge that other people are happier. Now, I'm not going to tell you to delete all of your social media accounts, but there is one small change you can make. An easy and powerful first step is to eliminate electronic media use, like social media, from the time when you're in bed. So next time, when you turn the lights off, electronic media use is really associated with poor sleep quality, lower self-esteem, and depression and anxiety. So this is an important thing that we can easily reduce. Next time when you turn the lights off and you're getting into bed, ready to go to sleep, make sure that your phone is out of reach. Because remember, unlike technology, we need to unplug to recharge. Thank you.